Hello viewers and welcome to another video of Your Comments Chat. First I want to say thanks to everybody for your comments and feedback last week. It was great in trying something new and trying something where I'm rather than just comments on text comments, I'm actually talking about things. And I think sometimes when you talk about things, it's a bit more personable than just writing quick comments, and you can detect whether I'm being sarcastic or not. But I think it's good to have a bit of chat and to catch up with you guys as a community, and hopefully we can build this over time. And I'm going to try some other new things as well. I mean, just talking about new things, looking at the screen here, see, like when I work on a project like trailer versus trailer, you can see here, this is something that won't be public to you guys, but you'll see I've tried a version 1, a version 2 and a version 3, and I'm always a version 4 even, and I'm always working on what videos are going to look like, how long they take to produce, stuff like that, and ideas. So that's a new idea that's going to be coming to the channel as well. I'm going to be testing some different ideas over the next few weeks that will be things that I can produce in a timely fashion, and it's just trying to do that so I can make regular content at least Monday to Friday, and that way you guys can have news on the website that I can get done and videos on here as well, and it's all done in a regular place, and you guys kind of get into a rhythm of what I'm actually going to show on what days. I've got to get an order for that, if you like, in terms of what I'm going to show and various different games. But comments wise, obviously big thanks for all the gravel retrospective chat comments last week. I'm going to chat about some of those at the end of this video actually, but I think catching up, we'll catch up with a Dirt 5 Pathfinder mode. So kicking off with CHZ8959. I've always loved Baja Edge of Control. This doesn't quite look extreme enough. I wasn't after an overpass, just a bit more. Is it going to have any normal rally at all? Well, firstly, Baja, it's not like Baja. It's I think I know exactly what you mean. I think we hoped the environment be a bit more rugged, in the sense that there wasn't a clear-cut path. We knew the path to go down. It was relatively quick to do it, but there'd be boggy bits and the wheels would be slower through certain puddles, and you'd be bouncing around, and still be quite high speed, but you'd be needing to understand how to use the environment for the vehicle you were in. That's a big, complex project. And I think they probably looked at it and looked at the different vehicle types and thought, we'll go the easy way, which is just have a rough off-road experience. And that's what it is. It's just rough off-road. So it's not rock crawling. It's not overpass. Is there going to be any normal rally mode? Not that I've seen so far. I guess if you want normal rally mode, you've got Dirt Rally. I mean, they've literally taken the rally bit out, giving it its own game now. That's Dirt Rally. And then Dirt is going to be just a fun thing. There might be some point-to-point stages of some kinds in there, but the majority will be the different sort of adventure driving, if you like. In that sense, it's just a fun experience. I just hope it's got enough depth to it, to keep you coming back for more. I found when I played of it good fun. I think the average person will find it good fun. But for experienced gamers, I wonder if it's got enough to it. Does it have, and it won't have it, but it'd be nice if there was the option for lots of laps of endurance and tyre wear in there, and these elements where the weather changes and they make a significant difference over a long period, and choosing what tyres you need. So we'll have to wait and see what there is in the career mode, but certainly there's all of that to it as well. Mad Hatter says this will be a fun, frustrating multiplayer mode. It would be if it was a bit more rugged. I think as it stands, because it's pretty straightforward where you drive, it just means bouncing around a lot. I think if it was really rugged and cars were rolling and everything else, then it would sort of become a bit more of a melee here. Jerry saying, I just popped in Dirt 2 last week and I've forgotten how much fun that game was. Great game. Even to this day, a game with good artistic style, good vision. It just doesn't age. It's a fine wine of a game, and I really liked, for me, Dirt 2, Dirt 3, great games. They're different aspects that I liked immensely, and I think it ages well. And I would always welcome a remaster on, say, Nintendo Switch. Let's see a bit of Dirt. I'm Momo, flat and boring textures yet again. No thought put into it, at all, and generic. Right, firstly, I'll disagree with that. The textures and the rock textures and the lighting, really nice solidity to the environments. The actual environments look good. I think that it could, as I say, it could have done with a bit more attitude, a bit more depth to it in terms of the ruggedness of the environment, in terms of the experience you bring as a driver approaching these different environments and the challenge that that brings. But I also see that development-wise, it would have added a lot to it as well. So is it all it could be? No. But it depends really for me, how many tracks are there? If there's only 3 tracks for this type of vehicle, it's not enough for me. I just feel that when you've got 20 different types of cars, that's great. But how many different types of cars can you use on that surface? And it depends how cars are limited, cars and trucks, depending on the mode that they're in. That was something which limited V-Rally 4, I felt, as well, because I would like to have done V-Rally 4. I'd like to have done the rally stages, buggies as well, just because of the difference it would have brought some of those stages. The fact you could have, cut a few corners and taken a few more risks, completely different. Steve Campbell says, so Overpass, but looks way better. Not like Overpass. Overpass is literally, you're on a rock thinking, how do I get to that rock? And you're thinking about that and you're trying to drive and it takes you 5 minutes to get from here to there. It can be very frustrating, Overpass. The problem with Overpass is this is obviously technology. Overpass is practically an indie game compared to this. Overpass had some ideas. Engine sound wasn't great. The suspension movement could have been better. But above all, the environments were a little bit lacking in life. Quite a lot lacking in life. And it was just something about it that just didn't feel right. And I think they really need to get the vibe. Vibe is everything. And Dirt has bags of vibe. No doubt about it. Looking good. Steve says it looks massively average. Average compared to what? I think that's the thing. I think for me, graphics are right up there with some of the best off-road games we've ever seen. Nothing average about that at the moment. In fact, it's got that next-gen element in terms of solidity and lighting. So that is looking nice. Split-screen multiplayer as well. It's ironic that this is the year that Codemasters have pushed split-screen multiplayer when social distancing has come into effect. But it's good. We do like seeing it back again. Martsam is not excited for Dirt 5. It depends what you were looking forward to. Is Dirt 5 a game you would play, or is Dirt Rally a game you would play? If you're a Dirt Rally fan, then it's never for you. It's just not your type of game. And then we've got H. Frankly, this is what Americans should do with those rock bouncer trucks in real life. But instead they use them to climb a dinky little cliff and call it a day. Well, that's a bit more of your sort of rock climbing thing. It's the challenge in approaching the environment. That's the thing. And I think this is what this is all about. And so I think that's sort of the core of the main comments there. I'm going to skip over now and check out a few on Forza Motorsport. Forza Motorsport trailer we had last week, didn't we? Firstly, it's a pain that they've called it Forza Motorsport. When you're, I mentioned in a comment there, so when I'm saving images for my website, I have to save them as Forza Motorsport 8, and I have to call it Forza Motorsport in brackets at the moment 2021. It will just have the 8 of the year of its release, because otherwise I've got all my old Forza Motorsport photos that are going to get combined with the new ones because it's got the same name. A bit like Xbox, isn't it? Xbox One. Which Xbox One? The Xbox One, the one that was released years ago, the first Xbox. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that kind of naming convention never works. I don't know. I mean, if it was Forza Motorsport, remastered, or Forza Motorsport something, then that would work. But just having it as Forza Motorsport, it just doesn't work for the brand as it is. It needs to have a year behind it or something else. So there's that. Now, let's have a look at some of your comments on this. Dylan Hale says, honestly, this trailer means nothing. Look at the massive downgrade for Halo Infinite from announcement to today's gameplay. Also, we'll have to deal with Forza brakes anyway. I'd much rather have had PGR back, but oh well. So, trailers mean... take all trailers with a pinch of salt. Where we are so early, target rendering, take it with a pinch of salt. However, there was a downgrade for Forza 5. I played the version that was in development that was far better than the final game in terms of visuals. There was a big downgrade in the last couple of months before launch. The projection for Turn 10 of where the hardware was expected to be was clearly in a different place to how dismal the Xbox One was in terms of hardware. It was all talk about the cloud, power of the cloud, the cloud, rubbish. I think this time it's clear to say that it's clear to everyone that the power of the Xbox is considerable. It is in many ways better than the PS5, but the PS5 has elements that give it an edge as well. What it does mean, though, is that Turn 10 are not at a deficit in terms of power. They were at a big deficit before. Their starting point, it's incredible what Turn 10 got out of the Xbox One, frankly. And when you look at even Forza Horizon, the technology that was developed and how it improved, amazing technology. Do not underestimate Turn 10 Studios. As far as I'm concerned, the target renders I'm seeing there, I see no reason why the new hardware isn't going to do that. There was a particular emphasis on tyre wear, bits of tyre floating about, particle effects, dust, dirt, smoke, and there was a grittiness to it. There is a grittiness to motorsport, and that captures it well. And this is why I'm going to talk about Gran Turismo in a separate video, because people don't always, they're very passionate about their games. I often say that, you're passionate about Formula. I love Gran Turismo. I mean, I play Gran Turismo all the time, usually. I mean, I've had a couple of months off it, but I love Gran Turismo. I think it has great feeling to it. But I understand that it's very clinical. It lacks the intensity of motorsport in some respects. And when I look at the cockpit view, I'm going to talk about that as well. But Forza have got that artistically, but the handling from Forza 5 onwards just wasn't there. Now, we hear a mention here about Forza brakes. Well, who knows what the physics are going to be? I personally think brand new graphics engine, brand new physics engine. Racing drivers have been saying about Forza not handling great for some years. I've met racing drivers playing Forza that say to me, it handles nothing like a real car. So wherever they got their information, their data from, it was wrong. And they need to speak to racing drivers and get them to understand the feeling of the car. I remember going to eSport Le Mans and seeing Le Mans drivers just falling off the track. They just didn't get it. The car wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. It was embarrassing to the organisers to see Le Mans drivers in there. I mean, you think Formula One could be better? Go play some Le Mans in Forza Motorsport with a wheel. It's just nothing. It's nothing. There's no feeling to it at all. So they know they need new physics. Otherwise, their esports really aren't going to go anywhere. It's never going to be seen. Esport companies will have to start using other products. So they see that as a big element there. And finally, from Dylan, he would like PGR back. Wouldn't we all? I mean, we love PGR, but it can't come back because the development team have broken up now. They're working on different things. That was the time that was. Microsoft made a big mistake when the development team produced Project Gotham Racing 4. The technology, even when you look at PGR 3 and 4 now, is stunning. Do they have it to bring something like that back? I just can't see it. I just can't see it right now. I don't think they've got the vision at Microsoft. All they can see is sequels to proven brands. They've got a control network in there that says, no, we're supporting the brands we like and work with. I just don't see it coming back at the moment, which is a great shame. Racing Game Archive says, I'm curious in what direction they will take Forza Motorsport. I get the impression that this will be more towards GT Sport since they showed those cars around the corkscrew. I don't know where you get that impression from. I mean, it's just a track, it's a corner, it's a good vertical corner, a lot of vertical height difference there, undulation, shows physics engine a little bit in terms of the targeting. It's almost like they were nation liveries or something similar. Who knows? Who knows about the liveries? I wouldn't mind if Forza focused a lot more on racing, having a good racing online. Well, that's the future. Good racing, good physics, and good racing online. That's got to be the target. It's nice and simple. Ajax Walker says, agree with you, Alan, on the physics. They've been very arcadey for the last few generations. I remember back with some of the earlier games, Dan Greenwald would talk about how they worked with tyre manufacturers to bring realistic physics. Looks like they gave up on that route. Hopefully they'll return back to their roots. They also need to simplify the menu system, bring back grid with races to tick off. Okay, let's talk about that tyre comment there. I was at those presentations when we talk about Calspan tyre technology that was being used in Forza Motorsport 2, the evolution of that in 3 and 4. Forza Motorsport 4 was arguably the highlight of the entire franchise. What happened to it? I don't know. But nobody talked about CalSpan anymore. They talk about technologies, but no, something in the physics is now. The problem with developers, they don't always take the feedback I'm saying well. You can say something's wrong, it needs to be improved. Here's a racing driver that doesn't like it, listen to him, but they don't always take that well. And it's just one of those things. BTC is ace, is great, but captured engine has become a new byword. Target video to show what we hope can achieve. Absolutely, but at least they have an engine that's, they've run a demo using the engine they have. And as I say, with the technology increase, I see no reason right now why it shouldn't achieve what you've seen there. It's artistic approach rather than anything else that really sort of captured me there. And we know that Microsoft have been working on 4K textures, particle effects, ray tracing, a lot of technology going into this. They are developing technology for racing games 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now. I mean, they're looking to the future. Another footage appeared to be actual gameplay. You'll see no gameplay for a long time. I can tell you that. It's there's probably a car on a track with nothing there, just going round and round as they test the physics and the AI and work on all the different construction and everything else. It takes years. Mad Hatter quote Alan from Digital Foundry, some fine texture and frame rate analysis. I do love a good frame rate, as you guys know. And of course, detailed foliage there, always appreciated. Great trees. So let's see, what have we got here? All the cars sound like V10s, handle like Mario Kart. The beat goes on since Jerry Joe. I will say audio is something that Forza's not terrible at, but audio is complex because of the way a sound has to be made that ties into the physics engine. It's not like you just go out and record a car and then you just put it to it. It's a complex process. Let's hope that with more memory, more power, more performance, there's a greater understanding of authentic audio. This is something that a lot of gamers don't understand. It's like they hear Formula One cars on TV and say, oh, Formula One cars sound like they do on the TV. No, they use compressed microphones on the TV. I remember going to a Grand Prix for the first time in my life many years ago. And, back in the V10 era or V12 even, and the noise blew my head clean off. I mean, it was so loud, so ear-piercing, completely different to the experience you see on television. Even now, they have, Formula 2 you would think is just as loud as Formula 1, even though Formula 2 is, infinitely louder than Formula 1 cars at the moment. Giveaway says, looking forward to downgraded in engine, which always look way better than gameplay. Not necessarily. It's wait and see. As I say, they were using an Xbox One before. Now they've got an Xbox Series X. It changes all the goalposts. Sim Pedro says, I was hoping they would pull away from heading more Horizon-y and get back to roots. But even early glimpse, I'm not optimistic. Even if they get, like I said, and I actually answered that online. I said, what in this trailer makes you think it's going in the direction of Forza Horizon? I see nothing in this trailer that gives me that impression. Nothing at all. I see a garage with shiny floors, just like Gran Turismo, shiny floors, a bit of ray tracing that's just irrelevant. And that's it. I don't see anything else. If I see some kind of PR guy jump onto it saying, hi, welcome to Forza Motorsport, jump in, you're going to have a great time, let's see how you get on. If I suddenly get that in the middle of a video, I'm going to be thinking, oh, I don't want that. I want serious grit and racing guys and engineering and mechanics. That's what I want. I want the serious business, not the PR side of things. Mountain Goat Yeti. I never really like commenting on YouTube. It always spirals into an argument or a shouting match. It does. Not as bad as Twitter, though. And forgive me for saying rude, but I couldn't let one of the last comments in the commentary made this video go, okay, this is quite a long comment now. And he thinks Gran Turismo needs... Oh, right, he's a bit frustrated, Mountain Goat Yeti, that he thinks that Gran Turismo needs the most work. The company took the risk, stripped everything back and made GT Sport. Did the company take a risk? I mean, you have to ask themselves, they went from making Gran Turismo 5, which wasn't the game everybody hoped it would be, to making Gran Turismo 6, which was great. They then said there'd be a new Gran Turismo. We waited 5 years that we knew of in development, plus the years that went into that, to receive a game that had no one-player mode. And quite frankly, there wasn't much in it. So I can celebrate what they've achieved with Gran Turismo Sport. It's got a great multiplayer mode, but it's not a Gran Turismo game. And to think we'll be waiting 10 years for a new Gran Turismo game by the time the new one comes around. There's still a lot to do there. This is less than 3-minute clip, and Gran Turismo's new offering about the same. If you can work out that from such a few short minutes, then wow. It's not about working things out. It's about observing what the games companies are showing to you. And you'll see in the comparison between the two trailers, they are quite similar. But my core element was to do with the cockpit cam. Again, that will form on a separate video in terms of the gameplay and the intensity of driving and what it's all about. And again, Gran Turismo, rubbish cockpit cams, frankly. They don't have a cockpit cam that puts you in the right place in the car. It's very disappointing after all these years to have you sitting in the back seat. It's something they need to work on, seriously. I don't know if you've been able to see other footage. We haven't. If not, can't make assumption. A couple of minutes clip. Not about making an assumption on a couple of minutes. It's really just having a look at what do we see here. We see a graphics technology. Great. So we've seen a graphics technology and an artistic approach to Forza, and we've seen an artistic approach to Gran Turismo. The positive news that came out of Gran Turismo was it's trial mounted. It's amazing. It's trial mounted. To me, it's just a circuit. It's not been in Gran Turismo for a few years. That's been a loss to Gran Turismo. No deep forest, no high speed ring, no trial mounting. When I look at trial mounting, I see a very clinical and dull circuit on that layout. There's not enough in the way of catchment fencing or tyre marks or evolution in the environment. I feel like it should have been in Gran Turismo 3 years ago. It should have been in Gran Turismo Sport. We're holding back a track. Grand Valley Speedway, all these tracks, great tracks. But I'm not. I will celebrate the driving and the texture and the feel and the environment. That's what I want. And when I see that, that's when I'm going to want to drive it. But right now, it is quite generic in what they've shown. The cars themselves look stunning. They always do. Everybody's got stunning cars. Everybody's got reflective bodywork and chrome bits and visible suspension. It's wonderful. But for me, it's all about, I'm not looking at that when I'm in the car. All I'm looking at is out of my dashboard, I'm looking at the environments and the tracks themselves. I often feel that a lot of time gets put into the cars, but I want the time put into the tracks, into the curbs, into the bumps, into the immediate surroundings of the tracks, the barriers. I want that feeling of life. When you look at barriers, they're not clean. You can see marks on them where tyres have touched them, where the guy crashed last night, where somebody's dropped some oil, where tyre wear has been, perhaps where the rain has come and washed elements away. This is the life of a circuit. This is what I want to feel like I'm driving into, a living, breathing circuit. And this is what I expect from top-level developers. And I've not seen that yet. So that's my issue with Gran Turismo. Don't play GT fanboy. I'd rather us have way too many good games that doesn't hold water. I guess from the guy making this video, I'd like better clarity, having been played way feels Forza needs less work than GT. I didn't say Forza needs less work. These games both have 2, 3, 4 years, maybe 9 years of work ahead of them. I think Forza needs a complete overhaul. Artistically, they're working on that. Physics, we don't know. I think Gran Turismo needs a bit of an evolution as well, though. I see we've built on Gran Turismo 6, we've built on it GT Sport, but I do feel that we need something there with Gran Turismo. As I say, energy is what we need to Gran Turismo at the moment, and I think that's something that they listen, this is not like, I wouldn't rate Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport in the same way I rate Codemasters or Kiloton or Milestone. These companies have got vast more resources and cached and technology available to them. Third-party developers have no chance of capturing the next-gen graphics these in-house studios are capable of. The money thrown at them in R&D for the technology that they use is vast. This is what I want to see used. You can hire the best artists, the best programmers, and the best technology. This is what they're working towards, and this is what I expect. The best. It's expecting the best. So no game needs more work than the other. I just see that Forza was on a path like that, when it came out. It was getting better and better and better. It was catching Gran Turismo that had been released many years earlier, and then it reached a bit of a stale period. I think Forza needs, if it can overhaul its physics, it can come back at Gran Turismo in a big way. If it doesn't, same status quo for me. I just won't bother playing it. It looks great, but wouldn't interest me as a driving game. So I think that, and I answered that as well here. I actually said I never said Forza needs less work. If you follow my channel, which clearly you haven't, clearly this chap hasn't, you'll see I'm a GT Sport player and left Forza when it lost its way with Forza 5 onwards. I didn't like the spinny tyres. But there are artistic elements of grit and realism here I like, and if they can combine that with an all-new physics engine, they'll have a good chance of meeting their potential. And Mountain Goat Yeti thinks, how can you get that from a 3-minute clip? Well, I don't. I look at the potential. I look at the artistic target potential, and I say, we know they've got huge amounts of money. We know they've got huge amounts of technology that they can throw at it. Let's see that potential. But this is the big face-off between these companies. You know, I understand what they've got there. Fell in the Dragon, a little bit fed up with the reboots, confusing titles. Nayar Neko, this game looks amazing. Hopefully it comes to PC. Announcing that and announcing nothing is the same thing. Matter of fact, well, when they're announcing a project, the problem is games take years to make. This game could take 5 years, 6 years, 7 years to make. It's probably been in production for quite a long time already in some way, whatever the structure is at Microsoft. They've got to announce it because, you know, you've got to let people know what's happening. But it is an early announcement, isn't it? I think that there's no doubt that they would have liked something available for launch. I personally would like to have said, wouldn't it have been great to have had a teaser? I remember when the PlayStation 2 was being released years ago, and you had Gran Turismo 2000 20 years ago, blimey, that was due to come out. And it didn't. We had to wait another couple of years for Gran Turismo. You know, wow, it was a long wait for Gran Turismo 3. And Gran Turismo 2000 was meant to be just a demo with 5 tracks. I still think it'd be great just to have a demo, but, you know, we got to understand what goes into this. The physics, they want people to see it as it is, and it's a big project. And making a demo would take time out of the final game. That'd add a year onto it. So they've got to do what they've got to do. Again, Syringe Orange says, I don't get how this is early development. What has Turn 10 been doing for the last 3 years? This should have been a launch title. No reason to buy the Xbox Series X. I mean, there is the reasons really depend greatly on you as an Xbox fan. Are you a fan of Xbox? Do you have lots of games on the Xbox? If you do, great. If you don't, then there might not be a reason to buy one. Or Xbox Play Anywhere, play them on the PC. I mean, that's something to consider. Thomas was hoping for gameplay instead of in-game engine. Not going to happen. And then we've got other sort of questions. And my goodness, there's a lot of comments here. I just want to pick. My PC's running very slowly for some reason at the moment. But let's see. Peter Balk says you were judging on 1080p stuttering, 10 frames per second stream cinematic trailer. I'm not judging. We're looking at artistic elements. It doesn't matter if it's a screenshot to me as to seeing animation. But we're putting the two trailers side by side. We're looking at the target of where they're going. Bear in mind this game is years away. And we say, what do we think of what we've seen? Well, you've got an opinion on what you've seen. Observationally, there's particle effects, there's detail, there's well-modelled cars, there's good textures, there's lighting systems, there's complexity of engine design and stuff like that. So we can see that artistically there's something special to get excited about. That's it. We don't know if the game's going to be good. The game could be terrible. But you're looking at what you can get from that observationally. We're making observations. You know, the game will run at 60 FPS. The game may have on 120 FPS mode. You know, obviously the frame rate will be fine. That's not going to be an issue. It's Forza Motorsport. Bob Jenkins, I'll come back to that another time, Bob. And I think that's going to be it. There's so many comments that I think that we're just going to have to sort of speed through it with there. My PC for some reason is chugging, and I don't know why. On this at the moment, the internet seems to have died while recording. And so getting through the video, I was hoping to chat about Ride and a bit of the Project Cars 3 comparison, but we'll have to leave that to another video. It takes time. And JChamp, big fan of the video. Seeing people writing off TDU3 developer. TDU3 will be fine. I've got no doubt about that. I think when you look at kiloton technology, the improvement from WRC5 to where we are now to WRC9 is massive. The improvement you'll see in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years will be massive as well. Whether they, how they compete in the next 5 years from now, who knows? But there's a lot of great technology going through that company. H would like to know about my opinion on WRC Rally Evolution by Evolution Studios. Today it's the game with the most soul and personality. Different era, different times. The first game had great technology. It had this technology that saw mountains drawn into the distance and roads, you want to go there. Didn't handle that great, but it looked great. WRC2 picked up everything with the atmosphere, the technology, better handling. But it was at a time when Rally was big and it was better, and it just, Rally doesn't feel quite the same now in at least in the UK as it did then. It was a big sport, big stars. But I know what you mean. I think also that was a first party developed title, and this is now third party development as well, and there's always changes and artistic changes and stuff like that, and things that the development team might want to do and they can't do, or licensing issues. So we don't know about all that. Things have changed a lot in the last 20 years, and we are talking about a 20-year gap. A game that took probably 10 people to make back then now takes 100 people to make now, to make a game that's a quarter of what the game was back then, because the amount of extra detail it takes. Let's be frank, love the cell shaded visuals, Automata Lista, so did I. And I'm going to have to leave it there because this video's gone on a bit. But listen, I just want to say a big thanks to all your comments. Like and subscribe. It supports what I do. We do need more support from the community in that. Do support the Patreon or become a YouTube member. I can't thank those people enough when they support us there, because it really is a big help to me running the channel, and it's always competitive out there on YouTube, trying to get the views and everything. It's always a challenge, but I just want to make content that you guys enjoy, evolve the content, move the content on, and continue sort of sharing that, and sharing my passion for racing games and trying to give you guys a bit of my knowledge. I don't know it all, but at least I can give you a perspective based on my years playing all these different racing games. But I'll stop talking now. That's it from me for now. As ever, more soon. Hello viewers, well thanks for watching the video today. Do like and subscribe, it supports what we do. Do become a YouTube member. YouTube Patreon supports all of our content you see on the channel, and of course lots of gaming from retro to modern games. I love it all in terms of racing action. So click on one of the two videos just there to find out more.